This video is going to be the first part in a playlist in which I respond to BitchSpot blogs in his 36 questions to ask atheists. You see, I asked these questions first, and he responded. So in this video, I'm going to look at the first part of his responses. I'm not going to keep repeating his name because I think that's something very derogatory and something I would never call someone else. I don't want it to even seem like I'm calling him So in this video, I'm just going to refer to him as him, because he was not willing to give me his first name. He may later. I asked again, but I don't know. So I'm just going to call him him. So let's look at the first part of his response.
But these questions are not being asked honestly, and that seems to be a problem with a lot of theists. They aren't curious about what we think. They're trying to use these questions as a gotcha.
I just want you to know that this is a constant theme throughout this video, where he just calls me and other apologists just dishonest people and generalizes us all together. All I want to say in response to this is that I'm just not some liar trying to make things up. If Christianity was false, I would have no reason to be a Christian. It'd be a total waste of time. Like, why was I all this time dedicated to some fairy tale if I just believed it was a fairy tale? That'd just be stupid, a waste of time. I could be doing something better. I could be trying to make a bunch of money or something cool, but I'm not. So what does that tell you about my sincerity of my beliefs? Also, these questions are not meant to be gotcha questions. These are honest questions looking to start an honest conversation with somebody who is an atheist.
Pal, if you had anything that would convert us, you would have done it by now. You don't understand anything about us, nor do you care. This is just a sham. So let's look at the questions and see why it's all so dishonest.
Actually, I understand a lot about atheists, and some of my best friends are in fact atheists. And I care about the atheist community greatly, and I wish the best for all of you guys. Once again, at the end of this clip, he calls me dishonest. And all I want to say is that I will never personally attack someone or call them dishonest, especially someone I don't even know, because I think calling someone dishonest is a very extreme thing, and you should know someone very well before you call someone dishonest or a liar or anything along those lines. Let's look at the next response.
Why is there something rather than nothing?
That's a nonsensical question that doesn't have anything at all to do with atheism or religion. And this question shows up on lists like this all the time. It's so that the religious can just arbitrarily claim that things exist because God made things exist. But how do they know that? How do they prove that? Why isn't it just as worthwhile to say Barney the dinosaur made it, or invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies made it? You can't prove me wrong, and I don't have to prove myself right, at least according to you people. So let's try to get to a question that actually means something.
First off, this question is very, very relevant, as any coherent worldview at least attempts to explain this question, even if it is, I don't know, but naturalism will probably figure it out someday. One of the 5 staple questions of any worldview is the question of origin. How did I get here? Additionally, I never said in this question there is something rather than nothing, therefore God exists. So instead of offering some theory about why the universe exists, he just said that the explanation isn't God and I can't prove that God exists. Also, the cosmological argument is an argument for theism, not a specific religious belief. We can't look at the Kalam and say, okay, therefore Christianity is true. This reply also commits a red herring fallacy when he brings up something completely unrelated to what I was saying when he said, what if Barney created the universe? And he never attempts to answer the question that I originally asked. He just deflected it. Finally, when he says that this question doesn't matter, this is when I became to be very troubled listening to this video. If you ask any philosopher, why is there something rather than nothing? They would say that this is a very, very important question. Let's move on to the next clip.
Is there any evidence that suggests the universe is eternal?
What difference does it make? Again, this is more a question for scientists, not atheists. The answer is, we don't know, and neither do you. And it really doesn't matter because the answer doesn't lend credence to your beliefs one way or the other. So please, Come up with better questions.
This question makes a big, big difference. If the universe is eternal, there would be no beginning, and God would almost certainly not exist. However, if the universe is finite, then the universe would have an ex nihilo beginning, which would almost certainly lead to some sort of theism. So the question of whether or not the universe is eternal is a really, really big question if you are interested in, at all, the question of whether or not God exists. But let's keep it rolling and go on to the next clip.
If not, why do atheists hold on to this idea and say that you have debunked the Kalam?
The nature of the universe has nothing at all to do with debunking Kalam. Kalam debunks Kalam. Kalam fails because it makes irrational and fallacious claims, and the conclusion does not arise logically from its premises. Kalam, like all religious philosophical arguments, is faulty on its own. It doesn't need our help to fall apart.
So, in this clip, he claims that the Kalam is fallacious and contradicts itself, but then fails to offer any evidence that it does. That's what we call a baseless claim. If I say the earth is flat and then offer no evidence that the earth is in fact flat, then that would be another baseless claim, which is bad logic. That's what he does here when he says that the Kalam debunks the Kalam, but then fails to offer any evidence when doing so. I'd love to hear which one of these premises is irrational in the Kalam, because last time I checked, each of the claims of the Kalam are rational. Let's keep going to the next clip.
If so, why do the vast majority of scientists reject this idea?
Which idea? That the universe is eternal? Who cares? Because it has nothing at all to do with anything. And this is what happens when the religious think that there's some kind of a mad conspiracy to prove them wrong. No, they haven't proven themselves right. They haven't even tried. You still have all of your work to do, and playing these silly word games doesn't give your position any more rational validity. Do better!
Once again here, we see him just not caring about deep philosophical and scientific questions. Can you say that you are an honest seeker of the truth, willing to go wherever the truth leads you, if you don't even care about whether or not the universe is eternal? Like, this is a question the smartest philosophers have pondered for millennia, and then you're going to say that it doesn't matter? Once again, if the universe is finite, there's a very strong case for theism to be made. Whereas, if the universe is eternal, there's a very strong case for naturalism to be made, and I'd probably become an atheist if you could show that the universe was in fact eternal. I'm also willing to concede that my beliefs cannot be proven to be true. But there's a lot of things that people believe that cannot be proven to be true. I can't prove to you that my parents love me, and you can't either. But I'm sure the vast majority of us still believe that our parents love us. This is because there is credible evidence for that belief, and in my opinion, there is the same credible evidence for Christianity. Finally, I just want to say that these questions aren't just a word game. These are honest questions. I also hope the viewers notice a constant pattern here of him not answering my questions, but rather just claiming that there's no evidence for my beliefs. That's it for this response. Next time I'm going to look at some of his objections to the fine-tuning argument, but I just wanted to give an overview here of these first few questions, and I hope all of you have a great day, and I hope that you personally believe that you are willing to follow wherever the evidence leads you, even if it leads you to a different understanding of the universe. I know I'm willing to.